Good evening and welcome to CBC Windsor News at 6. Meg is away tonight. I'm Chris Ensing. Thanks so much for spending part of your evening with us. Tonight, fires ripping across the northwest of Canada. We hear about the rush to escape the oncoming disaster. Plus, a new approach to paramedicine. We hear about a team that's helping cut down on trips to emergency rooms in Windsor, Essex. And we ride in style to the weekend. A look at the old car cruise rolling through Windsor tonight. But I want to start in the Northwest Territories. That deadline to evacuate the capital city, it's passed. On the ground, massive forest fires threaten Yellowknife, while many anxiously wait to escape by air. Others are continuing on that long journey south by car. Some are just now hitting the highway. CBC's Juanita Taylor is on the only road out of Yellowknife.
The deadline issued by the government of the Northwest Territories to evacuate Yellowknife has come and gone. This highway is the only way out of the city, and there's fires burning on both sides of it. Officials say it is a critical route to safety, and they're determined to keep it open, reassuring for residents who are leaving their evacuation to the last minute. What are your plans?
Probably go Dadsville right now. And then probably from there, we're going to see within a couple of days. We might head down to Saskatchewan. We're not sure yet.
What's the situation been like for you so far?
Hectic, like everybody else. Everybody's leaving and praying and hoping for the best, which the firefighters and everybody's doing a great job. No complaints in the city.
With thousands of people having already left the capital city, there have been concerns about possible looting.
Please don't spread rumors. There's no looting in Yellowknife. Our CMP are patrolling the neighborhoods. I contacted them this morning. I saw them on my walk to work this morning. There was no looting. There is no looting. So please, your homes are safe. You've got to lock up and get out of town.
Meanwhile, that fire that's causing an entire city to evacuate is expected to reach city limits over the weekend. Juanita Taylor, CBC News, Yellowknife.
What an image there of that massive wall of smoke. I want to introduce you now to Sean Ouellette. He's from Windsor and he lives here now, but he spent years living in nearby Fort Simpson and was often called to Yellowknife for work. He has friends escaping the capital. Here's what he's thinking about tonight.
It's scary. Having been up there and living there, it's really kind of a shocking thing when you see how many fires they typically have in a year. And there's so many fires that most of them end up just dying out naturally and burning out on their own. But ones that do approach villages, that's where they start getting the water bombers out and trying to attack them from those angles. But you know, the sheer volume of the fires this year and the fact that so many are close to or overriding some of the communities is really, really scary. And I've got a number of friends that still live up there, so I've been kind of keeping on with social media and checking in with people and seeing where things are at. So I've heard a number that are going down just in Alberta primarily. I think some of my friends are in Peace River, Alberta right now. And, you know, I was just speaking with someone yesterday in Yellowknife and they said the smoke is pretty thick there and it's, you know, causing issues for breathing and whatnot. You know, and another one of my friends was saying that they've already evacuated, I think, most or all of the hospital and all the critically ill patients that I believe have been brought to Edmonton. So I mean, it sounds like it's been quite the coordinated effort to get everybody moving. I think people are actually really scared. You know, in the community that I lived in, Fort Simpson, they also had an evacuation order last year because of flooding, and now they're already sort of ready with their emergency preparedness. And so a lot of my friends are basically just saying, yes, absolutely, we got to get out of here.
Now, you heard Sean mention about the fires that are happening across Canada. The Northwest Territory is not the only region that's evacuating because of those fires. A rapidly developing wildfire emergency is also happening in the south central interior of British Columbia. Incredible video there. People being forced from their homes in Kelowna and West Kelowna on either side of the Okanagan Lake. The McDougall Creek fire on the west side of the lake has increased in size by 6 times overnight. It appears to have jumped the water to start fires on the east side. Those evacuation orders, they were issued early this morning for more than 2,400 properties. Another 4,800 are under an evacuation alert. The airport is now closed indefinitely. A local state of emergency is in place for the cities and parts of the West Bank First Nation. Back here in Windsor, paramedics are projecting that they'll respond to record high call volumes this year. A new report showing that calls for an ambulance in Windsor, Essex will increase as the year ends. This as offload delays add pressure to response times. But a new approach starting this month is promising groundbreaking results.
It is a pivotal time in pre-hospital care right now to be a part of this.
Deputy Chief Justin Lammers tells me it's simple. Being a paramedic is a very human thing. That desire to help pushing this new change.
Paramedics are in the business because they want to help. Hands down, paramedics want to help the patients. And for a long time, our hands were tied in the options that we could provide, knowing that transporting to the emergency department, we might not be able to get in as quick as we would like. Having this opportunity to provide an option, keep somebody at home, comfortable where they want to be, yet connect them to the resources in the community that are going to help them with the condition that they're currently experiencing. The paramedics are very happy to be able to deliver that.
Here's what Essex Windsor EMS paramedics are so excited about. The Community Assessment Triage Team. 2 primary care paramedics working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, able to provide care without an ambulance. That's likely the only change patients are going to notice.
They continue to call 911. It'll be triaged accordingly. So rather than sending a transport unit with 2 paramedics, we send 1 ERV with a single paramedic, keeping the transport ambulances at bay for life-threatening critical illness and injury, and then the low acuity, we're handling them in a different manner than we would have previous to this program.
If you need emergency care, they'll take you to the hospital, but that might not be the best place to go.
As opposed to automatically being transported to the emergency department, the patients will now have the option to choose an alternate path if they meet the criteria to fit the program. For example, the first 2 weeks of the program, we responded to 38 911 calls, and 26 of those were not transported to the emergency department. They were provided with connection to the primary care provider. They were followed up back in our community paramedicine program. They provided health teachings. They had some options rather than going to the emergency department. So that is, that group of patients would have otherwise been transported to the emergency department.
This triage team exists in other places. British Columbia does it, so does the Niagara region. It doesn't cost any more money to do this, just shifting resources. The success shown so far is being built on next month.
The hospitals were aware of the program. They are happy with it. Our paramedics are happy with it. It truly is a pivotal moment in paramedicine in having the ability to be able to provide options other than emergency department transport. We work closely with the Ministry of Health. They're excited about it. We're in contact with them all the time. At current time, we have 1 unit on the road, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. As of September 25th, we will have 3 units on the road.
Sticking with healthcare, the Minister of Long-Term Care announced millions of dollars for 2 new long-term care homes in Essex County. But as Dale Molnar reports, the Windsor-Essex Healthcare Coalition is still concerned the homes will be privately run.
I want to thank my friend and colleague, Minister Paul Calandra. Our Minister of Long-Term
The new home in Leamington will be built on the site of the current Franklin Gardens long-term care home. The new home in Bell River will be on County Road 22 and replaces Tilbury Manor. Both will feature 160 beds with homey state-of-the-art facilities,
including secure outdoor spaces for residents, larger resident common areas, and air conditioning throughout the facility.
You need the new homes, you need the 4 hours of care, and they need to be state-of-the-art homes that have infection prevention and control. And that is why, look, we've doubled funding to get these homes built.
The new homes will increase the total number of new beds by 130.
Quality of life is what it's all about, so we're really thankful when we have partners that work with us to achieve those goals.
The province is spending a total of $140 million to build the homes. There will be a staff-to-patient ratio of 8 to 1, but the province says staff will spend at least 4 hours per day with the residents. There was opposition to moving patients to Bell River from Tilbury, but a man whose mom is in Tilbury Manor is glad to see the new home being built.
The building we are in, the staff go out of their way to look after the residents, but we don't have the facilities necessary for modern long-term care.
My own bathtub, my own shower, my own bathroom. I have a private room. I want a private room. That's the way it's going to be. It's going to be excellent.
Calandra says some municipalities have been putting up opposition to new homes, but he says the province will not let them stand in the way.
Work with us or we will remove you. We will remove you as an obstacle, and we will get shovels in the ground. We will meet our goals, and we will continue to build on behalf of the people of the province of Ontario.
But the co-chair of the Windsor-Essex Healthcare Coalition says patients get better care under publicly owned long-term care homes like Huron Lodge, and these homes will be still privately owned.
Not investing in the public aspect of long-term care is still going to back up our hospital system in Southwest Ontario. And I urge the government to please, please, please invest in a public option so that people who are stuck in the hospital system can get the long-term care beds and can free up hospital spaces for other people who desperately need them.
The home in Bell River will be ready in the fall of 2025. The home in Leamington will be ready in early 2026. Dale Molnar, CBC News, Leamington.
At City Hall tonight, people are gathering to remember Windsor legend Ron Lattiser, more commonly known as Feather Hat Guy. He died earlier this month at the age of 75, known for his iconic cowboy hat filled with feathers. That hat now finds a home at the Chimchuck Museum.
I think it was just the outpour of people that, really liked Ron and how popular he was in Windsor. So another thing about Ron is his hat. And we have his hat, and instead of it being shoved in a closet somewhere, I thought maybe, the museum might want to display it, since he was such a popular person in Windsor. This is Ron's hat. He's had many hats over the years, but this is the latest one that Ron was wearing. He's got his hawk feathers in here. That's the feathers that he liked to use in his hats. This hat is white. It's a little weathered, but it was Ron's thing.
And we are greatly honored to be able to be the new home and take Ron's hat. It's such a Windsor icon.
And the hat's coming here. That's great news. Tell us what you're going to do with it when it gets here.
Our goal is to put together a display. We're looking at sometime, hopefully September. And then people can come in and see the hat and maybe reflect some memories of Ron. And we're hoping to get a feather hat action figure, as well as maybe a couple of examples of things like prints, pictures. We know that there's a feather hat beer at Craft Heads, so maybe we can try to get a few cans of those in there. I think Ron represented kindness and compassion, and I think most people that were downtown anywhere between the 90s, 2000s, 2010s definitely maybe had an interaction, or they're always positive with Ron.
That's been one of the fascinating things as we remember Feather Hat Guy is so much more than just the feathers in the hat. Kindness, compassion, and a bit of a jokester. As we look outside, bright skies heading into the weekend. We're going to cool down, but things are going to heat right back up. Colette Kennedy's got the forecast. Windsor has a large and growing collection of public art. This month, we've been highlighting some of those pieces. Standing near the Ambassador Bridge, you'll find Dancing Bear by Inuit artist Pata Sela. The city's cultural development coordinator explains why visitors to the riverfront should stop and admire Dancing Bear.
If you were to begin walking the sculpture garden at Ambassador Bridge heading east, our bear would be one of the first pieces you see. Take a look at this piece. View it from all angles. The bear is interesting. The bear is articulating. It's moving its feet and arms, and you just have caught it in this moment of kicking one leg up in joy. As we get into this piece, not only is it technically gorgeous, the skill set that an artist needs to have is an elevated skill set to create a piece that is balanced on one leg while moving and extending its arms. I love the Dancing Bear. On so many levels, this piece works and is interesting, beautiful, majestic, and whimsical.
From a big buddy to some of our smaller pals, hummingbirds, or more precisely, ruby-throated hummingbirds, are migrating through the area right now. That gives certified hummingbird bander Bob Hale Brooks a reason to get to work. Now, he wraps a small band around some of their legs to track them and then gather information. CBC's Mike Evans caught up with him to explain that process.
Now that we've caught a hummingbird, the first thing we want to do is get the band on the bird. We know that this is a ruby-throated hummingbird because the ruby throat is the only hummingbird species that nests east of the Mississippi River. And the first thing we want to look at is check its legs, make sure it doesn't have a band on it already, which it doesn't. Band over the leg and just close it. The banding is to give them an identity. Ideally, what we want to have happen is we want this bird to be caught again so we can learn more about their age, more about where they went.
Hummingbirds weigh somewhere between 2.5 and 5.5 grams, which is about the weight of a dime. We caught 3 today, which, as far as I'm concerned, was extremely good. Anytime I catch more than 1 in a day, I'm very happy, and so I'm ecstatic right now. All 3 were ruby-throated hummingbirds. 1 was a hatch-year male, and 2 were hatch-year females. Now, hatch-year means that they were born this year. I have had a return 6 years after the fact at Holiday Beach in the campground. The one bird that we have had caught somewhere else, and it was caught 19 days later after we had banded it in Essex County. It was found south of Houston, Texas. I think what is the most interesting thing is they're the only bird that can hover quickly in one spot and back up. They can fly backwards. And they're doing that at between 2,000 and 3,000 beats per minute.
So, put on my hand.
Colette Kennedy joins us now with a look at the weather. What we've got going on right now is nice, but from that map behind you, we're still looking at next week, eh?
Yeah, we really need to put our sights on what's to come and just be mindful of it and be planning ahead. So I know kind of cool and breezy today, but I'm talking about the heat that will be pumping in. This is an image in terms of what we'll be looking at with the temperature contour for Sunday, okay? So for the second half of the weekend, and it's not just the temperatures, it'll be the humidity as well, as that heat dome in the U.S. is really expanding and we push into it. And then that'll be the steering currents as well for Hurricane Hillary in the Pacific, likely taking it up the Baja Peninsula and even bringing heavy rain into Southern California and the desert Southwest towards the end of the weekend and into Monday. Flash flood watches are in play there. And with the heat dome, I do want to caution you, we kind of go onto the fringes of it at the beginning of the week, but it may well push in and really have an influence on us into next week by midweek and towards the end. So coming back for a second dose. I'll get into that in just a second, showing you the afternoon temperatures. And here I am talking about heat coming, and yet we're into some cooler readings with some breezy conditions behind the cold front that brought us some of the rain and thunderstorms from yesterday. So it's pretty short-lived, this shot of colder air. And actually what happens is we've been seeing some of the clearing, obviously, and getting into those clear skies will allow for cool temperatures tonight, cooler than last night. But it also allows for the setup of sunshine for Saturday and temperatures bouncing back closer to seasonal. A few fair weather clouds possible in the evening, but your plans still make them and enjoy. And Saturday may feel a little better. Sunday, you're really going to need to take it easy and hydrate, because that's when we get into more of not just the heat, but humidity with it. Because of that, we'll get into some building cloud in the afternoon, mostly fair weather cloud. A few isolated thunderstorms, but more into cottage country towards Georgian Bay, I would anticipate. The winds, even those improving overnight tonight, and we're going to see them getting much better than through the day Saturday. But the next time they'll be kicking up, that's going to be for Sunday, where they get stronger, again, pushing that heat and that sticky air mass from the heat dome into our region. Tonight, though, enjoy the cooler feel. I mean, can you believe a single digit for London? We could possibly fall to that, too, here in the Windsor area, but I'm keeping us at 10 degrees. 26 the high tomorrow, 32 Sunday, feeling like 40. A bit of a reprieve the beginning of the week, but I'll be watching carefully as to whether we see that setup of that dome again Wednesday through the end of the week. Chris, that could mean some extreme temperatures and extreme humidity.
Always good to know what we got going on now, but appreciate that long-term perspective as well, Colette. Have a good weekend.
You as well.
People are getting revved up for the big cruise in Windsor. We can hear them from the studio. We will take you ground level for a look at some of these cruisers as we come back after the break. Some loud engines are roaring in Windsor tonight. Get out the lawn chairs. It is the 8th annual Elec Car Cruise. Car enthusiasts are going to be showing their love for Windsor's automotive roots this evening and showing off their shiny chrome and loud engines.
I'm a car guy, that's what, so I just love different cars. I've always loved cars since I was a kid, you know, Tonka toys and stuff like that.
Just like being around my car buddies and enjoy the festivities, and it's fun to cruise, you know, and beautiful day, and love Windsor.
I love classic. It don't matter what year they are. I just love classic cars. When I was young, I had about 9 cars when I was a teenager.
How do you enjoy a car like this? What do you do?
Just keep it clean, make sure it runs good. Even if it doesn't run, I enjoy just cleaning it. You sit inside, you know, because like I said, when I was young, I had all these classic cars, you know, now I can't forget. You can't forget.
Well, it is a no-brainer, and that was one of the reasons that we started it, was we wanted to piggyback off the success of the Woodward Dream Cruise, and it made a lot of sense to precede the Woodward on the Friday evening, having folks that would be coming down for Woodward from other parts of Ontario, even from Windsor and region, but then perhaps folks that were in Detroit currently would come over Friday for the Elec Car Cruise, and which has turned out to be the case. With our rich automotive history in Windsor, Essex, it is an absolute no-brainer, and the success of the cruise year over year is a testament to that.
I tell you, the loud engines and the bright colors, my favorite in that last shot, probably the ice cream truck. Now, some of the latest advances in robotic technology are on display at the World Robot Conference in Beijing. This show, it focuses mainly on developments in Chinese tech.
首先先坐下来，对。
The Cyber Dog is a very popular attraction. Now, it obeys commands and enjoys a nice little scratch under the chin, don't we all? And it can also provide information like the weather reports. There's no stoop and scoop with this pet as well. Now, if you take your robot dog for a walk, you might want to stop for a coffee, of course, which is where you get your Robo Barista to come and help you out. Not a more practical level, of course. You're looking at some of the other options that are out there for these robots and robotic aids that are helping in medical procedures, or as you see here, stocking some store shelves. Now, there are some that are also on display for use in dangerous applications such as firefighting and even those mundane tasks that we have to go about on the day-to-day. But none of that, because we are heading into the weekend. That's it for us here at CBC Windsor News. You can go to our site, cbc.ca/Windsor for news anytime. We're going to leave you with a live look at the tower cam along the riverside, where some of those hot rods are going to be making their way around town this evening. Make sure you have yourself a wonderful, wonderful weekend.